It's no secret that I am a huge Bloodborne fan. I'm not sure why I fell in love with that game, but I'm pretty sure at this point it's my favorite game ever made. And I'm not really a big fan of FromSoft games, nor am I a huge fan of really difficult games. But for some reason, that game just kind of struck a chord with me, and since then I've kind of had a little bit of an obsession. So much so that I made this whole basement wall down here themed after Bloodborne, and my wife painted those amazing pictures of Maria and Yusefka, Eileen, and all those runes, those Carol runes over there. Now, recently I decided I want to get something special for Bloodborne. I want to like try to see if there's a collector's edition or something like that. And I hit eBay, of course, where everyone goes when they want to be scalped. And I realized that if I wanted something from Bloodborne that was like a collector's edition or special, it was going to cost a lot of money. And as much as I love Bloodborne, I'm not going to spend a ton of money on something that I'll just look at on my shelves. So instead of doing that, I looked around and it turns out there's some cool stuff that just never got released in the US. Now, this is what I found on eBay. I bought it actually at this point about 3 days ago. It got here in two, I figured you might want to come along on the unboxing journey with me and maybe discover something that you might have not known existed, because I know I didn't know this existed until a week ago. So in this box right here, I've opened it up already so I can get to it easier, but you will find these two items here. Now, what are these exactly? Let me put them on display a little bit for you. What you have here are the Japanese editions of Bloodborne and the Old Hunters DLC. Now, I bought these, and even though buying them, I'm still just a bit uninformed of exactly what they are. I'm assuming there's some kind of special edition or maybe a limited edition. Not a crazy special or crazy limited edition, just more than the average game by itself. So we'll start over here with Bloodborne first, and you can see in the front we have this beautiful artwork of the hunter. Simple, clean everything. On the back you have that Carol rune. But what's really cool about this, and I can't really show you on camera, I can try, is that this is textured. This is textured to feel like an old bound book. So it's textured to feel like an old bound book. It shows where, maybe you can see like the hatching on it. I'm not positive if that shows up on camera, but it is beautiful. I'll try to... There's some ASMR for you for free. Bloodborne ASMR. Anyways, this itself is really nice. It's really neat. Inside we get just the game, basic game by itself, nothing crazy. There's some advertisements in here, probably some warning registration cards. Oh, okay. PlayStation Plus in Japan. There's some Dark Souls 2 advertisements, which is, yeah, this would have come out right around. He was working on this, I believe, and that's why he didn't make Dark Souls 2. We can't speak his name. This is some kind of code, redemption code for Bloodborne. Don't think that works anymore. But yeah, just simple thing. The game itself in here, some advertisements. But this is the cool part. It's just practically brand new, because I don't think the person ever looked at this. Bloodborne art book. And again, what you can't see on camera is that over here, there's texturing on this saw, and this is embossed in this beautiful foil here. Just a little gunk right there. Huh. It's like brand new, there's a little bit of gunk. Crazy. This is beautiful right here. And on the back, there's all those little pieces like motifs and hidden art. You have the hunter talking to the messengers. It's pretty neat. I'll try to get you close to the mic again. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but there is this perfect texture there. And when you see it in light, it'll kind of glisten a little bit. I'll move it back and forth. Maybe that shows up on camera, maybe it doesn't. When you open that art book up, you're greeted to just... I have to be a little gentle with it because it's never really been opened, it seems. But you can see there's the concept art, the drawings for the weapons, a few of those in the game. There's a lot of those. Like, there's a lot of weapon art in here. Hopefully you can pause and see that if you want. There's character designs. I'm not even sure who this character is, actually. Who is that? Well, that's something I've never seen before. So you have this character concept art here, design art, whatever. And there's this person over here. I'm not sure who that is. I mean, just look at this stunning artwork. Beautiful, grotesque, but beautiful in its own special way. I don't know. It's something about this style. I love it, even though I'm not really into like gothic stuff or that kind of thing. But I don't know what it is about this game that got me and just kind of hooked me in. But the art style is just phenomenal. Like, even look at this Castle Canehurst picture. Just gorgeous. On the back, we have another bestiary with a bunch of bosses and everything. Just awesome looking stuff. I could look at this for hours. In fact, I probably will sit down this afternoon and sit here and look at this in detail because there's so much here to take in. Just so much detail and beauty in that art and complexity. It is wonderful. So that's that right there. That's the Bloodborne. I'm going to go ahead and call it a special edition from Japan. Didn't know it existed until about a week ago. So let's put that right here, and then let's get into this over here, which certainly does not exist in the US because the Old Hunters DLC, as far as I know, never got a physical disc release. I'm not sure why it got that in Japan, and I'm not sure if this contains the entire game on it or not, but again, this is just this beautiful piece of art on the outside. You have Maria on the front. On the back, you have the clock tower. this perfectly aged, like a book that's seen better days cover, and that texturing again here that really makes it feel like it's an old bound book. What's neat about this is it comes with one additional thing. First off, I'll put in order. We have the game itself, and then inside the game there's like nothing, just the disc. But it is cool to see Maria on the disc. It's cool to see Maria on the cover, and it's cool to see this picture back here of the hunter with the doll in the dream, I believe. Aside from that, you get a soundtrack. Now this has never been opened, and I don't think it's worth a whole lot of, or if anything at all, because music's everywhere. But it does have 5 pieces on it. It has Ludwig, Lawrence, Living Failures, Lady Maria, and Orphan of Kos. So all the DLC songs that people are always so excited to talk about. Not sure if I'll ever open that, but there it is. And then finally, again, we get another Bloodborne book. Now, this is a little bit different. This is the Bloodborne Prologue Complete Guide. This here makes me think that the Old Hunter's disc actually has the entire game on it. Again, I'm not positive. I'll have to look it up later. And, in the long... Does it actually matter? Probably not. But this gives you a rundown of the first part of the game. Like, the whole game. Not just the DLC, just the whole game. So if you pop it open here, you'll... I'll try to pop it open to something that looks familiar for people. I believe this is a guide for the Old Hunters DLC. It also looks like there's pieces, parts in here for the base game as well. I can't really tell. I don't read Japanese like whatsoever. I can recognize at this point maybe 4 or 5 characters, which is embarrassing for me. But it does tell you, as all good user guides do, how the game works, where things are, what the items do, what the priority of use is, all that good stuff. And it does look like there's a guide in here. There's maps and everything. So it looks like there's a full guide. Now, I believe that full guide is for the DLC only. I was mistaken if I said earlier that it was a guide for the base game. It might be. I'm having a really hard time pinpointing. You go down one corridor, they all kind of look alike after a while. I really do think, though, this is part of... I'll have to look at it later, but like I said, not too important. But it is a walkthrough, and this is the weird thing. People always say you don't need maps from FromSoft games, or it's ridiculous, and they make it more challenging without maps. No, you just pay them. Just pay them money, and they'll give you a map. That's how it works. So, there's resting on your morals and laurels, whatever you want to call them. There's just accepting cash for a map, because here you go. There's maps, and they're detailed maps, too. They tell you where things are. They tell you locations of items. Like, they're not messing around. So if you pay from software money, they'll give you a map. Yeah, I believe this is for the base game as well, because I'm seeing the next thing after the guide is Cleric Beast and Father Gascoigne. So I really think this is for the base game. But either way, it's cool to look at. And why is it cool to look at? Because there's a whole bunch of pictures in here. There's a whole bunch of information in here. There's a whole bunch of, documentation of, just even the clothing, the outfits you can get. Hopefully you can see those. There's documentation of all the runes and everything like that you can get. And just kind of cool to see it arranged in this shape and form. Now, I know there was a strategy guide made for Bloodborne, but that is not in the budget anytime soon or on the priority list. In fact, I have a really big thing on the priority list. And hopefully stay tuned to the channel and social media, TikTok, YouTube for me. You'll see that. But just, I don't know, just stuff like this. It's cool to see the artwork used in such a cool way in the book. I love it. Now, I've been gushing over this for a while, and I probably repeated myself a billion times about how cool everything is and how awesome it is and just how gorgeous it is. But I don't know what it is about this game that just struck me and stayed with me. I've played games before in the past and gotten to a point where I would say, an aficionado of them, almost in love with the game itself and the world it creates. That hadn't happened for a long time, and I don't know what it was. This is a quick little story here, and hopefully it makes sense to the video. A while back, my wife, who is recording this for me, hi, hon.
Hi.
We had been making jokes about the Dark Souls series, and my one friend said, Demon Souls is the hardest game ever made, and that's all I really knew about it. And my wife actually decided that she wanted to play Dark Souls 3 on her new gaming PC I had built for her, and I said, sure, those games are notoriously difficult, but hopefully you'll enjoy it. So she started playing Dark Souls 3, and I watched it, and I watched her die a lot, and I watched her create her own little farming runs a lot, and it was fun to see that happen. And I love the aesthetic of those games. It's like this believable, unbelievable, I guess, fantasy medieval world that could exist but seems almost impossible. So anyways, I watched her play Dark Souls 3 for a long time. I thought to myself, well, I really don't like that, but this Bloodborne thing kind of looks cool. It had been out for a while at that point, and it was being run on sale at Christmas time, Black Friday for I think it was $9 or $10. And so I booted it up, and it looked like the game that I wanted the Order 1886 to be. And I'm like, okay, the aesthetic's great, the music's great, the atmosphere is great. Let me start playing this and kind of see if I enjoy it or not. And of course, I got frustrated, like most people do. It's very difficult. It's unforgiving. You have to be very aware of your surroundings. And I died a lot. Then my wife gave me the advice, just keep running. So I started just running past enemies and then found places where I could farm enemies and places I could level up. And lo and behold, it's one of the only games I have a platinum trophy on all these years later on the PlayStation. I'm not sure what about that game drew me in. Other FromSoft games have not done that. I've tried really hard to get into Elden Ring a lot. I've tried to get into Sekiro. I've tried to get into all of them. And no matter what I do, I can't get into those games. I don't know why. But Bloodborne was something special, I think, and I'm glad to have these special editions in my collection where I will display them prominently and enjoy them hopefully for years to come.